Back in the early 40s and 50s, before Uganda attained independence, the Europeans were new reality, occupying the top of society. At the bottom of this class, after the drivers of the economy, the Asians, were the locals who were united against the state of affairs despite the region and places they came from. Joseph Kabango, a retired civil servant who was by the time of independence 25 years, recalls what united the country by 1962.
Uganda was a sovereign state, although not much in the modern sense of the word. Bunyoro was a sovereign state. Toro was a sovereign state. Then other areas of Uganda had their own different ways of ruling themselves. So all these areas of Uganda were different and separate.
Some societies, particularly the Baganda, were united and still are strongly bound by their allegiance to their king and cultural institutions. As the young state was taking shape, so was sport that was being propelled through schools, cooperatives and government parastatals.
Football. I think football is something that brings together so many people, but all the other sports as well. Motor rallying is very popular. When a motor rallyist called Kuji passed away, Kampala came to a standstill, and he's of Asian origin. So that's the kind of binding that I'm talking about, where somebody can be loved just because he makes people happy. He races and they're pleased. So definitely sports is one of them.
A number of people cite this as one of the factors that made Ugandans qualify for African Cup of Nations in 1978 due to the support they got from the political heads. To date, despite the country's traumatic past, sometimes its divisive politics and the many ethnic groups, when it comes to sports, especially football, many Ugandans put aside their political, social and cultural affiliations and rally behind country and flag. At the heart of any nation is music. Even during the colonial times, the people danced and sang. 50 years on, sometimes indigenous cultures have fused in music in different genres. It's clearly seen during annual music festivals. For Professor Olok of Makerere Law School, the judiciary and parliament too are part of the glue that have held and continue to bind the country together.
Politically, I think that certainly we've made many advances in terms of both constitutional rule and governance, as well as in terms of multi-party democracy. We have a parliament that I would describe as fairly vibrant. It depends on what time of the day, what issue it is, and how the mobilization takes place. And we have also a quite robust judiciary that is, on occasion, has stood up to executive excess.
All political parties now accept that Uganda should remain one. Only that they differ on unity and diversity should be kept.
But during the 50 years, the country has also found itself butted and in places sharply divided.
Unfortunately, the military still plays a predominantly dominant role in politics, and I think that that has suffocated the aspirations for democratic change in the country.
So deep are its wounds in certain areas that some have boycotted the Jubilee celebrations.
This is what one might consider to be opposition for opposition's sake, because there is nothing to oppose. It is clear that it is 50 years since, and Uganda has witnessed a lot of changes since that time, and we should unite as a nation, as a country, to witness the occasion.
Now, after 50 years, we have seen Uganda united, but then there are certain issues that have seen Ugandans still bounded till today, and some of those key factors is sports and music. But then, what could be the problem? Where has Uganda gone wrong that Uganda is not fully united? What could be done, and where is the exact problem?
Well, ultimately, it's a political question. Because governance, you can talk about technical governance, economic governance, social governance, but ultimately political governance is the key. Today, 26 years after the movement is in power, we still talk about Amin, about Obote, about the past governments. Yeah. You know, I mean, what is that? We're always looking back instead of looking forward. And in my view, until we begin to look forward, we will never get far.